This is the music industry, and it's a perfectly orchestrated cocoon of human stupidity. And then suddenly, this woman appeared out of nowhere and rose to the top of the music industry. How does she trick a world obsessed with vain, brainless lyrics like this to listen to this?
What a shame she's fucked in the head, they said, but you'll find the real thing instead. She'll patch up your tapestry that I shred.
It seems as if Taylor is haunted by youth, the beauty and ugliness of it. But before that, in the classic Taylor Swift fashion, I have a riddle for you guys. If there was a fire in a museum, which would you save? A Rembrandt painting, or an old woman who hasn't many years left anyhow? This is a question that a poem Ethics by Linda Paston asks us, and it presents an interesting dilemma. Now, back to the video from Dear John, where she sings, "Don't you think 19's too young to be played by your dark, twisted games when I loved you so? To nothing new lamenting, Lord, what will become of me once I've lost my novelty? To that raging bridge in would've, could've, should have, where she screams, give me back my girlhood, it was mine first. To illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares, Taylor is haunted and enchanted by youth." This fascination is at the center point of the song 7 in Folklore. There's a lyric in the song that hits a resonant chord. Are there still beautiful things? It seems as if the older we get, the more prevalent this question becomes. The color of the world leaks out as you grow older until one day you wake up to a monochrome dull reality. The world is suddenly colorless. Or it is you who has lost the ability to see color in the first place. The youthful, naive curiosity directed towards an ambiguous yet alluring world that promises nothing but irresistible, charming mystery and endless possibilities has been exhumed out of you. Whereas before it only took a firefly or a pink sky to infatuate you. Now the world has lost its enigmatic charisma. Nothing enchants you anymore. And you keep wondering, are there still beautiful things?
Very bad for business.
The only thing that keeps you going through this sick, twisted place full of hatred and gunfights and wars and murder is a memory of a lost childhood. A lost childhood that reminds you of the beauty that the world is still capable of having. Please picture me in the weeds. Before I learned civility, I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted.
The song, I was looking back on it, I've always wondered when I see a kid throwing a massive tantrum in a grocery store, like part of me is like, man, I feel you. Like, when did I stop doing that when I was upset? Like, when did I stop being so outraged that I would throw myself on the floor and throw the cereal at my mom?
You made it! Don't save Riley!
Take her to the moon for me.
Jo March from the movie adaptation Little Women embodies the tragic loss of youth perfect. While the entire movie she refuses to conform to society, an unwanted weed in a sophisticated garden, and she refuses to get married.
No one will forget Jo March.
But as the movie progresses and as Jo grows older, she sees the macabre that ensues in the wake of time as her siblings move on and get married, as her sister dies, and she clings on desperately but to no avail. At that delicate, euphoric stage in your life, you finally meet your greatest opponent, and it's not teachers or parents or society or the curfew. It's time, the invisible string. As the song begins, Taylor addresses time as mystical and curious. She looks back on her life and performs an autopsy of the past, like Centennial Park, a teal shirt, a favorite spot for dinner, a bold waitress, that were meaningless in the moment but in hindsight were placed with deliberate precision like dominoes to bring her to the present moment. They're clues that Taylor overlooked, proof of time's invisible work. When time is omniscient, above human folly, whims, and desires, it is elastic, not measured by seconds but by the heart. A second could be stretched into infinity, and eternity could be confined into a second. And you will never see it coming. But youth slips away like a Friday afternoon in your childhood backyard. And you hold on, but you're holding on to water. And you feel a sense of rot and decay creeping in at the edge of your soul. You will become a graveyard of the songs you listened to when you were 13. You will make promises and take photographs, disillusioned, thinking you can defeat time or ignore its existence altogether, and time indulges in our human defiance. And then it takes its revenge, and we're left in awe of our foolery in thinking that anything or anyone in life was ever promised to us. You will try to rewind time, grasping for all the right ingredients, but the sky will never be the same shade of lilac it was when you were 17 and in love. Did you hear about the girl who got frozen? Time went on for everyone, she won't know it. She's still 23, inside her fantasy, the way it was supposed to be. There's a lyric in the song Dust collected on my pinned up hair that may be an ode to Miss Havisham, a character in Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. She was left at the altar on her wedding day. Heartbroken, she stopped all the clocks in her mansion and wore her wedding dress for the rest of her life. That is dramatic, exaggerated, and yet intimately human. Who wouldn't want to stop the clocks? Sometimes in life something so horrible happens that you would expect for even a minute millisecond for the world to stop spinning on its axis, for time to stumble on its feet. But no, the sun keeps rising, oblivious and indifferent to your tragedies, and you want to stop the clocks because even though the world hasn't actually ended, it has ended for you. Time may continue for everyone else, but for you it has stopped. In the movie, Jo March recites a poem to her dying sister. What novelty is worth that sweet monotony where everything is known and loved because it is known? Novelty is a word that stings. At the summit of promised beginnings, you will mourn 1,000 endings. And you will become a wreckage proof of what time is capable of. By the start of the video, I asked you guys a question. Which would you save, a Rembrandt painting or an old woman? Well, guess what? It doesn't freaking matter, because they're both beyond saving. Time will give you the blues and then purple pink skies, cut you open and then heal you fine. Your life is a perpetual cyclical journey to the center point of destruction. So make the friendship bracelets and take the moment and taste it. You've got no reason to be afraid. You will lose everything, but everything you lose is a step you take. You're on your own, kid. You always have been.
Fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.